weeks. I say you're going to get the grandest and the very best of A.J. Brown this year. And I think you're going to get the very best of A.J. for the next 3 years in New England. You know why? Because he's looking for something different than Super Bowls. And I agree with you, SS. I think it's 3 years. He needs, okay? He needs, all right? He needs, without a doubt, to have 3 great years in New England to be in that conversation for Hall of Fame. You heard Armando Salguero yesterday make the comment that he's got Hall of Fame talent. Okay? You did hear that. And he's going to be chasing at least, he's looking for 4,500 yards in the next 3 years up there. And that'll put him in the conversation about 12,000 yards. And then you're going to start that conversation. I heard John say that he would take AJ over Owens. T.O. dropped the ball a lot. T.O. had drops. And for the record, I think T.O. is a great ball player, but he's not Randy Moss. He's not Megatron, like that kind of talent. He's not Antonio Brown. And for the record, A.J. Brown's not Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's better than Larry Fitzgerald. That guy's got like 7 or 8 Pro Bowls and like 5 first-team All-Pros with the Steelers. Antonio Brown is arguably the best wide receiver in the last 15 years in the league. Better than Devontae Adams. How about this? During Antonio Brown's time catching the football, there's been no better wide receiver than him. T.O. was a game breaker and never broke a game. And never broke a game. I mean, Antonio Brown was, I think, a 6th-round draft choice. I think he was a 6th-round draft choice, something like that, and turned himself into a Hall of Fame guy. I mean, just completely turned himself into a Hall of Fame dude. Oh, hey, Jace, what did Larry Fitzgerald do better than Antonio Brown? What did he do? Here. I'm not talking about the guy's character here. Listen to Brown was insanity. 110 catches, 129, 136, 106, 101, 104, 99, 1698, 1599, 1834, 1384, 1565, 1397, 15 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns. And he owns a Super Bowl ring, and he's a 7-time Pro Bowler, and he's a 4-time first-team All-Pro. And by the way, when you go down to what those guys are talking about today, he's above the metric of almost every single Hall of Famer that's made the Hall of Fame when it comes to his ability to be in the conversation to go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, his numbers are insane. He has Hall of Fame numbers. Only reason? Because he played longer. Yeah, get this. See this? Fitzgerald played longer. And by the way, Prince can have him. Okay? He can. Yeah, he played 17 years. The other guy played 13. Helps that Brown had Big Ben. Ben was underrated on inflating wide receivers. The guy was a 6th-round draft choice. The Steelers have always had great pass catchers. Hines Ward. Go down the list of the Hall of Fame receivers that they've had on that team. Fitz is mostly due to his good guy thing. Him and Warner are still the biggest things ever in Arizona. At the end of the season, I can't wait to see what AJ's numbers are. And Eagle fans will have a new excuse like Drake made, force-fed him the ball. You know what my take would be on that? Well, aren't you going to force-feed the ball to Barkley? It's just a different way of winning. Steve, Eagle fans are going to force the football to Barkley. Okay? They're going to force it to Barkley. And they're going to hope that guy can take 28 carries. All right? They're going to force feed the football to the best player on the field. Because the best player in that huddle has to be Barkley. He had Brady and Ben. He had Ben. This is what he says. He had Brady and Ben throwing him the ball. When he was in New England, when Antonio Brown was in New England, how many passes did Tom Brady throw to him? 4. In Tampa, he threw 87 in 2 years. Whew. Man, what a difference maker in a career. Force feed is so dumb in football. You feed the beast. There you go. Me too, dude. Hey, we had to force the football to AJ. Okay, well, that makes sense. Plus, you're paying him $32 million. If I'm paying a guy $32 million, I'm paying that guy that money for a reason. I'm going to feed him the beat. I'm going to feed him the pill. If you think Kraft is putting AJ in the Hall of Fame, why would Kraft go into the Patriots Hall of Fame with 4 catches? Oh, AJ, my bad. If you think Kraft, well, wait, we got to hold on for a second. That's like telling me Lemon's going to be a star. You don't know. Still, to be honest, if Hines Ward is not a Hall of Famer, 2 Super Bowls, and a Super Bowl MVP over 12,000 yards, AJ going is going to need 13,000. Yeah, probably so. Seals, I personally don't care what AJ does. As long as Philly goes further than the Pats every year, I'm good. Why would you care what happens in the AFC? Who gives a shit about the AFC? You're being petty, dude. That's a petty Eagle comment. Who cares if you go further or not? How do you do in the NFC? Who gives a shit? AJ's in a different conference with different objectives. You're in the AFC East. a lesser division. If I were people, I wouldn't give a shit about it. You don't know what those numbers are going to mean. To me, like if you want to win the East, you got to play great defense. You got to run the football. If you're in the AFC East, you got to throw the football and play great pass defense and have a decent pass rush. I think there's a different way of how to win your divisions. What and how have the Eagles won the division the last handful of years? Running the ball, not throwing it. If that was the case, throwing the ball to win the East, the Cowboys would win the East every year. Do you understand? There's a different way in each division on how to win those divisions. That's why you got to build your football team to the opponents that are in your division. Like when you play in the NFC North, okay, you've got to play some pretty good. You got to have good ends because you got to set the edge there because they're going to try to run the ball. Chicago wants to run the ball. Detroit wants to run the ball, even with those skilled guys they have. And they're trying all those teams there. Packers made a move for Micah Parsons, pass rusher. Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit. You've got Van Kinkel in Minnesota. Do you understand? Every division's different in how you go and approach to win those divisions. It's not a blanket. Well, hey, if we play this way, we would win every division. That's not the case. The Eagles aren't set up to play. Here's a great example. The Eagles are not set up to play in the AFC West. Okay? But the Chiefs aren't set up, or the Chargers or any of those other teams aren't set up to play in the East, the NFC. Seals, I'm replying to somebody said the Eagle fans are going to be upset about AJ doing well. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Get this. At the expense of the passing game. They got their numbers at the expense of the passing game. They were never a great unit. Think about that. That's why they're changing. Everyone got their individual numbers and everyone got paid. But you were never a great pass unit. Never consistent in the entire 5 years. Like ever. As the collective, you were never good. Individually, you were. And that's the individual talent we talk about that Howie puts on the team. They've never been good in the passing game as a unit. 23, some people say this. Well, we weren't that bad. Well, you did have 21 turnovers. Again, they were never good as a unit. That's why they changed. They were never good as a unit. The passing game, it was all running and playing defense. Everyone knows this. Stop acting like you don't know that. You've never been good throwing the ball consistently. Stop. You got 5 years of proof on it as a group. Hey, you had 1,000-yard receivers, but the unit stunk in the passing game. 3 and outs, led the league. 29th, the year you won the Super Bowl. Last year, 23rd. 3 years ago, 28th. Come on, man. So as you said, and I quote, no one is talking about Barkley, which you said is a good thing. If the O-line is healthy and the Birds get better with 3 and outs, it's be a tough team to beat. Yeah, because they'll be working the clock. See, we don't go here anymore to that. I don't even know what that means. Those 2 years, AJ had AJ had was great. Well, because the offense went through him. Because it went through him. Okay? I mean, it went through him. Now, those guys will sit there and want to go through Barkley. They want to go through Barkley this year. Yes, Barkley's been the difference. It was a course shift when he got here. As a matter of fact, I don't know how Joe Schoen keeps his job in New York. Let's say this, and I don't mean to be picking on John McMullen, but John said this about Barkley. It was the right move to make by getting rid of Barkley in New York. Do you think that Jackson Dart right now would love to have a back like Saquon Barkley? And the one thing that's different between, there's many things on offense that are different, but the thing that's different between the Giants and the Eagles is clearly Barkley. They don't have a run game in New York. They have a kind of run game. And you let that guy go. Hey, and for the record, the two dudes you let go, Daniel Jones just signed a contract extension for $48 large over the next 2 years, and Saquon's one of the highest paid running backs. And you didn't know what to do with those guys? How do you keep your job? So those guys go other places and excel, and not with you. That's an indictment on the GM and the coaching and the hiring process. And that guy deserves to keep his job? No wonder he's a do boy for John Harbaugh. That guy's making no critical decisions on who. And by the way, let's see if Jackson Dart can stay healthy, because that's also a Joe Schoen pick. You mean, if you had to do that all over again, would you want to try to work with Daniel Jones with a better coach? Or would you rather have Jackson Dart? I don't know, man. I think I'd rather have Daniel Jones. That's a poor decision-making on personnel. Something Howie really doesn't make a mistake on. You know the only things that Howie does? He makes you scratch your head at this. You'll spend 3 years with a guy like Milton Williams. The guy will turn himself into a great football player, and you have zero interest in signing him. And if a guy's a first, Jordan Davis right now today is not a better football player than Milton Williams. Why? Well, Milton Williams can play 3 downs. And he's proved that. Davis is not. They believe Davis will. Okay, well, that's a projection. Milton's doing it. Milton's doing it. Saquon Barkley has missed roughly 26 regular season games due to injuries or rest over his NFL career since being drafted in 28. The most notable absence came in 2020 when he tore his ACL in week 2. Not to give the guy any kind of jinx, and I don't want to say anything about it, but to me, it looks like ever since he got away from MetLife, Barkley looks like a much healthier football player. And for the record, I mean, I'm not going to go down that lane, but I'm going to leave that alone because I am a superstitious guy. But boy, I'll tell you, that MetLife turf, that jump up and get you, man. Jackson Dart, hold on here. Let me get this. Howie is so good that Davis only holdover from the 22 Super Bowl 57 at defensive seamless. What are you talking about? He's the only holdover from that defense. Again, Davis is not better than Milton Williams right now. Milton Williams makes more too. Yes, projection, to be fair, JD he has. To be fair, he has. He has. Actually, too, becoming a better leader. How sad it is that Giants don't care enough to change their field. They had the World Cup stuff up there. They rip it up, and they put that shit back down again. Jackson Dart ain't it. He was a wasted pick. Which, as an Eagle fan, I'm glad they wasted the pick. I'd hate to see a great wide receiver like Malik Neighbors. I thought I saw him get banged up in practice, too. Get stuck with no quarterbacks their whole entire career. Maybe we get him. I think Neighbors is a really good football player. I'm with you, man. I don't see it in Dart either. Guy doesn't know how to protect himself. He doesn't know how to protect himself. MetLife, the Met of Death Life Stadium needs grass or to be demolished. Took a lot of great players' careers, killed them easily. Shit, one guy, Mekhi Becton, couldn't stay healthy up there. You're telling me New York can't build a better stadium? They got the money. That's right, Sue. They don't want to. So it's not that they can't. They don't want to. It's like California now. You will never, ever see another stadium built in the state of California that's not privately funded. Like the bonds that they got Santa Clara built with. Remember, Stan Kroenke opened up his checkbook and he paid for SoFi. Nobody paid any money for it. No state bonds. There was no tax money. That was all Walmart money. Nobody paid for SoFi. Stan Kroenke wrote the check for that thing. Nobody paid a nickel for that stadium. John Gruden yelled at Dart when drafted. But to his defense, the running back missed the block, which got Dart killed. Yeah, Hollywood. But welcome to the NFL. People miss blocks. Get down, son. You can't get down and protect yourself? Hey, I'd rather have my quarterback get down than take a hit. Take a 5-yard loss. Learn to live to play next week. Not every inch during the regular season is as important as the next week. You got to learn to play the next week. Look, I'm not moving off of 8-9. I'm just not. I don't see it on offense. You're more optimistic on the offensive side. Your defense, I agree. I'm encouraged about hearing the offensive line. I'll tell you what, I am going to go to the next topic. Landon Dickerson is a problem for me. I don't believe that guy's going to make the year. I think that guy, in all reports since a year ago, when he had a horrible year and in the controlled scrimmage, he got destroyed. If that guy's not a factor, you got a problem. You got a problem. Because the backup that you have on that team is who? Michael Jordan? Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Well, no shit. Welcome to the NFL, where injuries are not a factor. You got it, dog. And that's why I'm where I'm at. Seals, how do you think Landon Dickerson will pan out? Man, you're lucky you've been here a long time. Here, I think Kendall is a good backup for Landon. Fred Johnson also. That's not a debate. The debate is, what's the fall off? That's not the debate. Still, for someone that's never been in the NFL, they wanted to one day become a GM. What advice would you give them to get their foot in the door at any job, paid or not paid, opportunity to prove them? Well, go be an intern. Knock on the door, send resumes. Knock on the door and say you'll do whatever it takes. Give them a background, talk passion, and tell them what your goals are. This guy never stops, but I love him. NJ Fishing Maniac, thank you, bro. Yeah, that's what Howie did. Howie sent resumes, I think, to Mike Tannenbaum. Sills, how long does it take for an open air team to become soft after moving into a dome? Chiefs to move into a dome in a few years. Eagles may get a dome too. I hope not. Man, I think let's take a look at that. I want to show you guys something. I want to show you something. Let's take a look at this. Philly wants a dome? Well, let's take a look at that. How many teams have won the Super Bowl in the last 60 years that played in a dome? Let's take a look at it. Seahawks outside, Eagles outside, Chiefs outside, Rams. 2000. It's kind of, but it is a dome. I'll go there. I'll give Rams 21. Let's see. Bucks outside, Chiefs, Eagles, Patriots, Broncos, Patriots, Seahawks, Ravens, Giants, Packers, Saints. 2009. Let's see here. Colts, 2006. Colts. Patriots, Bucks, Patriots, Ravens, Rams. They played in that dome in St. Louis in 2000 and 2000. Packers, Cowboys, Niners, Cowboys, Washington, Giants, Washington, Bears. No team won the Super Bowl that played in a dome until the Saints did it. Oh, no, the Rams did it in 2000. So in 61 years, 4 teams have won Super Bowls. 3 teams, really. The Rams twice, Saints, and Colts. In 60 years. You want a dome? Think about that. 3 teams have won Super Bowls playing in a dome. And you think playing in a dome is a good thing for football? Based on what? It ain't the history of the game. 3 teams, Rams, Saints, Colts, are the only dome teams ever to win a Super Bowl. Philly guys have talked about it. Segura talked about it. Kaplan talked about it. Yeah, dude. You play indoors and outside. The reason that the Colts with Peyton Manning underachieved when they had to go to New England or Baltimore, they got waxed. I mean, that's why that stupid comment that Jake Elliott made. Jake Elliott's like, hey, we had some bad weather. Hey, Jake, you need to go kick in a dome, kid. It's Philadelphia, man. You're going to get shitty weather. Yeah, I hear people, they're always like, be the best interest. And Jeffrey Lurie is trying to sell it to Eagle fans. Hey, listen, we'll get a Super Bowl here. You won't play in one. You won't play in one. Hey, they may hold the game in it, but you ain't going to be in it. Superstitious? He's telling me facts are superstitious. In 60 years, 3 teams have won playing in a dome. That's superstitious to Twiz. Hey, Twiz, that's actual facts, dog. Oh, you build a good team, you'll win. Okay. Well, wake me up when that trend changes. Seals, bad weather. Vinatieri was out there kicking during blizzards. What is Elliott talking about? Yeah, I don't know. Boy, is that guy, he is the only guy on that. Get this. Jake Elliott. Are you guys hearing me? Jake Elliott gets more leeway with his history than what Jalen Hurts does. He gets more of a pass than the quarterback does. I've never seen a guy who's been bad. Bad. And they don't bring any competition in for the guy. And people are constantly on Jalen Hurts. The organization's like, nah, Jake will be all right. The quarterback doesn't get the pass that the kicker does on the football team. And the kicker, in many aspects, in today's NFL, is as important as any offensive player when it comes to scoring. Dude, here's the biggest number you need to know. What's the point differential in NFL games? Three points. 3 points. Kind of eliminates the whole home field advantage shit, though. We literally depend on the weather later in the season to give us an advantage to teams who don't normally play in the snow. Jeff, who do you think had the advantage between the Colts and the Patriots during the Brady years? And why home field advantage was so important over the Colts instead of going inside. By the way, I'd rather have an outside team go inside than an inside team go outside. Peyton Manning underachieved in Indianapolis. Seals got an internship with HBO. Thanks for the advice. Great folks over there. Worked with them a lot. Seals for sure needed to build a new stadium and have a retractable roof. Having a dome would be idiotic. Retractable is the way to go for sure. Either way, we definitely need a damn new kicker. All right. Yeah, dude. Seals, got me thinking the other day. The NFL wants to expand, but the World League failed. What's changed? The reason why they stopped with it didn't fail. The World League didn't fail. The rosters expanded. And then when you started with new franchises, they folded the league. And it didn't. It was really good. James Harrison came out of there, Kurt Warner, bunch of people, man. Jake Delhomme. There was a ton of guys that came out of that World League. It was really good. It was a developmental league. But now you have the practice squad, Hollywood, and you've got 19 players on those practice squads. The league doesn't see there's a need for it. You're paying almost 20 extra guys to be on practice squads. That's why the World League's not around. Newsflash, if the Eagles had a retractable roof, they'd close it for a snowstorm. Why? Oh, the league would close it for a snowstorm. I wouldn't close it for a snow. Well, here's another one for you. On the, here's another one. So in the Super Bowl era, Minnesota's been to 1, 69, 2 and 74, 3 and 75, 4 and 77. And what year did they put the roof on the Hubert Humphrey Dome? What was the year Minnesota played in the dome? They played in the dome (1982). So 77 was their last Super Bowl. They've never been back. Once they put the top on the stadium, they've never been back to a Super Bowl. They took their home field advantage away. I actually played in the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome. Domes get you a stadium host, but weather elements get you an advantage on the way to the Super Bowl. Look at Minnesota. Their evening playing field. Dumb dome choice. Yes. All right. Let's go to another one.